All right, so I just got my Cameron Jones Racing flashed ECU back in the mail. They turned it around really quick. They only had it for about 24 hours before it was traveling back to my house via priority mail. So really appreciate how quickly they were able to send that back. They also didn't charge me for the reflash. It was part of the purchase that if I get new parts and need a different stage tune, that it's something that they'll just do if you send it back to them. So really excited to see how this is going to perform, and excited to see how the cam is going to perform, since I haven't got to fire up the bike yet. Since when we did the install of the cam, this thing was actually in the mail on the way to CJR. So we're going to pop this back in. There's just this wire harness here, and there's also the rubber grommet that holds it to the frame. We'll get that popped in. At the same time, I was also going to install this MoriTech clear cam gear cover. So the cam gear cover that we have here that you saw during the install of the new TBolt cam is obviously a regular opaque gear cover. This one is transparent, so we'll get to watch the cam gear and the chain spinning around. Obviously no performance value, but just something that looks cool. At the same time, I also bought these red anodized tappet covers just to kind of accent the rest of the red on the bike. Obviously, no function, but just something that looks neat. Before reinstalling the ECU, I also pulled off the negative terminal. I remember when I first installed the ECU, and I didn't do that, I was getting an engine warning light, and I pulled off the negative terminal, let it sit for about 5 minutes, reconnected everything, and no engine check light. So just to be safe this time, I went ahead and disconnected this before I reinstalled the ECU. All right, the ECU is situated correctly there in the frame of the bike, and check this out. This is pretty cool. This is the MoriTech see-through cam gear cover. The anodized red matches the tappet cover and a lot of the other red on the bike really well. Looks pretty well built, and yeah, it looks pretty cool. So let's go ahead and fire up the bike for the first time with the new cam, the tuned ECU, and this trick cam gear cover. So everything sounds pretty good. Started up correctly. Let's go ahead and give it some revs. Sounds a little rumblier, a little deeper sound maybe, but I'm going to go ahead and ride it around and see what type of performance we got out of the cam. And was actually able to get it to go 77 miles an hour both directions. In the video clip that I'm overlaying right now, I was actually only able to get it to go 76 miles an hour in the direction I was heading on the highway on that next pass that I was recording. But yeah, 76, 77 miles an hour, pretty impressive. My goal actually has always been to get it to go 75 miles an hour so that I could actually ride it on 95, because the challenge in riding this bike to work is that I have to take city streets, because on 95, if you're going slower than 75 miles an hour, it's dangerous. But at 75 in the slow lane, you're keeping pretty well with the flow of traffic. So pretty excited that I was able to meet that objective. One thing though is that it takes quite a while to get to that 70 plus mile an hour speed. So the next thing that I'm going to look to do is lower the front sprocket from a 15 tooth to a 14 tooth to see if that can't help me get up to speed while not sacrificing too much on the top end. The cam performs really well, and you really feel it in the top end above 6,000 RPM, but below that it still feels the same. So hopefully the re-gearing that I do then gives me the best of both worlds, but we'll see if we sacrifice too much on the top end and don't get that top speed that I'm still looking for. Anyway, next thing that I want to do is get this dyno just to figure out where I am in the overall horsepower. I think the stock motor is supposed to be 8 or 9 horsepower to the crank, so probably 7 or 8 to the wheel. Curious with the mods that I have so far where I'm getting, but anyway, pretty happy with where I'm at so far. Stay tuned for more videos. Thanks.